Aquarius, this is your September 2025 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, it's your reading. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. It's Romy here. We're going to open up this month with the energy of judgment for you. I think that in this season, there's going to be a need for a renegotiation. Now, Saturn tracks back into Pisces through its retrograde transit from the 1st. And, you know, where we learnt a lesson and where we moved on, we might just need a moment to revisit something. And, you know, through this 8th house energy, it's almost like you've outgrown something. And maybe even you made an agreement or the terms that were signed up to are no longer valid, or perhaps they need to be just repositioned and re-strengthened. Okay, so however that shows up for you, you're going to find that you're noticing so much more than you ever did before, and perhaps you're going to wonder, like, how did I not see this, you know? But the energy and the vibe in the room has definitely shifted and changed. Now, of course, we're into eclipse energy, so we want to hold space for the expectation that there are going to be perhaps some unexpected shifts happening, and, you know, some turmoil that might bring about, again, some reflection or some need to be a little bit fluid and flexible as to how we decide to proceed and move forward. I want to call out a couple of dates early on in the month, because on the 4th, Mars is squaring up with Jupiter, and it means that some of the actions that we take can maybe result in some bigger consequences than we might have expected. And that's right ahead of Uranus going retrograde in Gemini. And so, again, things coming in a little bit unexpectedly and even shockingly, sort of around that early part of September. It also does give you, though, I think, cause to really see the degree to which you're still very affected by something. Okay, you'll realize that maybe that trigger point or the need to take some sort of action, you know, is about maybe a bigger desire for closure, or a need, again, like I said, to renegotiate or to make a change in relation to something. Okay, the 5 of Air suggests to me that, you know, as we move through this month of September, we may feel that there are scenarios that are playing out where we're having to make choices and decisions, or things are being sort of levied towards us. And, you know, we kind of feel like actually there's no winner in this. Like, there's no outcome that just feels like it's the right thing. And I suppose I want to say to you, it may be that you're just coming from a limited perspective right now, and that's not your fault. It's simply that you just don't have access to all of the information and to what that bigger picture is forming and how it's actually going to end up serving, and, you know, the ways in which you're going to be navigated and directed through it. So take this message as a sign that if you are in that place at any point through the course of this month, and you're feeling or finding that, you know, you're being forced to make decisions, or they're being impressed upon you, and it feels like you just can't find the one that is settling with you or that feels right in you, more is coming online to kind of reveal itself and to shapeshift and to be clear with you in a way that just sort of helps you to make peace. You know, I definitely think that sometimes there are those instances where we have to do things that are going to continue to sit with us in a way that we struggle to process, to digest, and to resolve. And, you know, that's part of the contrast and the complexity of life, right? But I do think that in this month of September specifically, you know, it has a sort of wildness to it in a way that's surprising for a Virgo energy at the beginning of September. But at the same token, you know, we're learning so much from things, you know, and it's definitely stirring back up, because you are in some way, I feel, taking power and reclaiming something for yourself in the month, which matters. Now, we're going to head to the lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 7th of the month. There will be an emotional intensity to that. There will be a beautiful release that also comes as a result of it. You've got 8 of Earth here, and I'm wondering if it comes around for you. Remember, Pisces season, sort of Pisces energy, second house for you. So it's the value of something. It's coming up with a kind of work energy. So I'm wondering if an emotion that has been felt or experienced pertaining, relating to work, is being sort of brought up, or something that was hidden or unseen, or that needs to be met in the shadow self to explore, is what sort of presents itself in and around the 7th for you. So it could be some events or scenarios that happen at your place of work, or in your contemplation around where you are at in your work. You know, we've got illusion, we've got fantasy, we've got hopes and dreams, you know, we've got creativity. Sometimes we have to be our own muse. If you have been feeling very despondent, actually, is the word I want to give, in regards to inspiration, or finding people that, you know, you can kind of believe in or count upon, or that help support or lead or navigate you in the way that, you know, is motivational for you. There's something about how September is kind of calling you inward to say you need to be your muse. Like, look at the joy and the colour and the vibrancy of your life history and your shaped path, and what you've been through, and let that be your inspiration. There's something that sort of calls you back in when you're feeling, as you look out, nothing is quite working or fitting or representative, I think, of what it is that you feel and what you're going through at this moment in your life. The 13th I want to call out because Sun and Mercury come together, and I think that there can be a real illuminating conversation that happens, and something that will no doubt shift the dynamic in some ways. You've got the 9 of Earth, and I think that you're going to be in a better position than what you maybe anticipate, or perhaps what had been presented or was showing up. So that sort of coming into mid-month does mark a change, and again a confidence that needs to come through. Making sure that you're taking time to acknowledge the steps that you've taken, and knowing that you've just done the right thing, you know. I think there's also a realization around that time for you, Aquarius. You don't need to keep fixing. Not everything is broken. Flawed is beautiful and real. So just notice where you're trying to do that in yourself or in other people's lives. You know, that Virgo energy can get very sort of focused around that need to fix. But what is that actually... what is that taking energetically, and how is that distracting you from things that are meant to be focused upon through the course of this month? Okay, the dreams for you feel bonkers, like in September. So I would say, like, get a journal by your bedside, right? You're probably going to have some really you know, prophetic dreams, some really interesting, unusual dreams. And again, just this sense of you trying to resolve things in your mind, working through things, but also a lot coming online and being sort of given to you by way of downloads through the dreamlike state. Now, Venus is going to shift into Virgo on the 19th, and it's, you know, a love language that talks about acts of service, right? We want people's actions to match their words. That's very important to you and for you in terms of how it is that you're showing up. I want to say that you're also coming to a conclusion around that time, that there is some toxicity that has sort of taken root. I don't think it started out that way, okay? So whatever it is, whether it's something that, you know, you've been doing, or a relationship you're in, or just whatever it is, it started out as a passion, as a motivating, maybe a bit obsessive, and, you know, there was aspects to it that were really fulfilling, but it's shifted, it's changed. The vibe is different, and it now does feel a little bit toxic. So I think there's also going to be that realization of what just needs to be addressed, where you need to rein it in or make a decision. I think the fact that we've got that judgment coming through just means that you're making some very strong decisions and coming to some pretty powerful conclusions for yourself, just because the way the universe is presenting things to you actually in the month of September, right? Now, we have the Seven of Cups coming in, and we're going to be approaching the new moon solar eclipse on the 21st, partial solar eclipse at the 29 degrees, fated energy coming through. I want to say to you, like, there's something about I don't need to know it all. I just need to feel I'm ready to receive when the time is right. I think that's a massive game changer for you, because it's almost like when you're trying to figure it all out, there's too many options, there's too many choices, there's too many things. It can be overwhelming. It's a bit nebulous and confusing and illusionary in that moment. So rather than trying to do that, if we can just sort of surrender into the place of just saying, when I'm meant to know, I'm going to be given that information and it will be crystal clear to me. So that is going to be super supportive and helpful, okay? Particularly if you find that you're trying to grasp at something or control the outcome or the narrative of a certain aspect of your life, just because there's a sense of uncertainty. And the thing is that we're recognizing more and more that, you know, life is going to become increasingly uncertain. And so we have to find ways and forge tools and, you know, become resilient in our ability, mind, body, soul, to operate and thrive in conditions that feel increasingly uncertain. So that's part of the reason why this comes through and why we want you to have that approach. I think that, you know, we're not wanting to try to manifest around this new moon with it being an eclipse, but we can recognize the energy that is already present around us. And if there are things we want to shore up, to transmute, to alchemize, again, sacred violet flame energy will be super helpful and supportive in this month for you. Expect something very unexpected. At that time, you've got the energy of the Hermit. The door is closed, but it's almost like you might be prevented or really blocked from something around that time of the month, and it's like a bit surprising to you, because you're just like, well, why am I not being allowed? Why am I not being allowed to do this? Why is this being blocked to me? It's a very sort of perplexing position that you find yourself in, but it's going to make sense. You're very much being protected, or there's a timing association with this that's very important, or something else has to come in before that door is opened, okay? Remember, you've got these nines coming through, which is very much about, you know, the perspective, the perseverance, but also the sense of like, you know, like what's it's taken to get to this point. You know, you're nearing a time of conclusion, so there's a sort of needing to call your energy back in, get very centered, get very clear, and sort of wait. There's a waiting game involved a little bit with this around that eclipse energy from something to come through. Now, it may just feel like it's the equinox energy that arrives on the 22nd that supports the reshift and the rebalancing, and then Mars hops into Scorpio, and we get much clearer about the strategy and what we need to do. We get quite fixed actually in terms of knowing what the next step's going to be. But it's a bit of a strange kind of few days for you actually, and sort of feeling like you were absolutely told or guided or, you know, encouraged to do something, and then you're there, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, that's not happening. So you're a bit confused by it, but it is going to sort of unfold in a way that's going to end up like a really strong teaching moment for you. Mars squares Pluto on the 24th, and you know, we can definitely experience some power struggles in that energy, and you know, you are going to feel that, maybe because of some of the frustration around what sort of transpires over the days that were leading up to that, but I think it also helps to sort of reveal something. It's kind of like, you know, searching for the diamond, and the pressure kind of revealing something really rare and quite profound. Again, it also seems to show you the degree to which you want something. You know, there's definitely this sense of like, again, having to sort of come back and renegotiate or readdress the terms, because now you know the significance or the importance of it, or what it is that, you know, is really going to be right for you. So I think that's coming up pretty powerfully toward the end of September into Libra energy for you. You're going to get a whole new perspective on things, you know, through the course of September. And, you know, eclipses will often bring things through in threes, so please pay attention to how that is also showing up for you. If you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we're going to look at in the extended reading, you'll find the link in the comment and description box underneath. It's a way to support the channel and enable me to keep showing up, so I really appreciate if you can invest. We're going to go ahead and clarify these cards. Let's see the direction we're going to take that reading. We'll also look at a personal and a relationship card for you there. Now please check out romywiser.com. You're going to find ways to work with me for one-to-ones. You're going to find my sacred titles, my journal deck and book, all my reports. You'll also find links to my blog that's sharing my journey of moving to the islands and the new healing retreat that I've got coming online in 2026. So there is that being blocked, right? That Hanged Man. Yeah, so please check it out. Come join me on romywiser.com. Okay. Now, we will have a look at Life Soul Vision. So this is my deck, Aquarius. What do we want to join to this conversation? The collective heart, that's showing up a lot this month. Golden Ribbons of Light. We've got Queen of Fire, Sacred Inner Flame. We've got Root Energy, Built from Love. We've got Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadows, and Cosmic Rebellion coming through there for you. Right, we're just going to have a look at an astrology card now. So this is for Aquarius and the month of September. We've got the records, remember why you came, be bold, legacy. Okay, that's your Akashic coming up here. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I look forward to connecting with you in the extended and wish you a beautiful month ahead. Bye for now.